Right now, we're tracking the roof fire in Shasta County, which is prompting evacuation warnings in both Shasta and Siskiyou County. Right now, you're taking a look at that fire in the Shasta Trinity National Forest in just the last hour. The U.S. Forest Service estimates the fire between 75 and 100 acres. We're tracking several fires in our region tonight as we head into hotter and drier conditions. Thank you for joining us for Newswatch 12 at 5. I'm Oscar Rodriguez. We'll talk more about other fires in our region, but first, let's turn over to our Storm Tracker 12 Chief Meteorologist, Matt Hoffman. Matt, what more information do you have about these evacuations regarding this roof fire?
Yeah, let's take a closer look. This fire just popping up this afternoon west of Castle Craigs. Evacuation warnings in place for zones SIS 6203, 6200, and 6301. You can see on your screen, this is to the west of Dunsmuir, south and west of Mount Shasta. You can get a closer look at that map on our website, kdrv.com, and you can find your zone. An evacuation warning means you need to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. Should an evacuation order be issued, that means you must leave immediately. Here's a photo taken about over an hour ago. Chance Shaw showing that root fire. You can see Castle Craigs right here. And this thing producing quite a bit of smoke, a lot of it starting to waft over Mount Shasta and Weed. Eventually, this is going to stream up into the Klamath Falls area. Of course, we're also tracking the Dillon and Blue fires off to the west. Here's an update on evacuation orders and warnings. For the Blue fire, no change. An evacuation order remains in place for zone SIS 1118B. We also have several evacuation orders and warnings for several zones for the Dillon fire that is off to the west there. Here's a look at some of the fires that we are keeping an eye on. The Dillon fire now over 6,000 acres, but containment up to 7%. The Blue fire over 1,200 acres. Both of these fires have been fairly active. Head over to kdrv.com. You can get a closer look at all of the information on these fires. Also, be sure to download our app. We do have updates on evacuations there as well. We have a red flag warning in place for tomorrow. Concern about thunderstorms and the potential for new fire starts. I'll have the details on that coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Matt. As the Dillon fire grows to more than 6,000 acres, additional crews are being called to the fire lines. Firefighters say they expect more growth up steep terrain and are working to reinforce lines around structures. Traffic control is in place for Highway 96, and drivers are warned that debris is rolling into the roadway. Anyone in an evacuation order zone should leave immediately. Just northeast of the Dillon fire, the Blue fire is being staffed around the clock to keep structures safe. The 1,200-acre fire remains uncontained, and firefighters are dealing with steep terrain and active fire weather. Incident management says they've seen multiple spot fires around the fire line.
Last night we had some growth in a couple areas on the fire, most notably down here in the Walker Creek area. We also had a little bit of growth out here on the northwest side up along the ridge. And then working down to the south end of the fire down here, we had some growth as well. Those were our three primary areas of growth overnight.
A forest closure is in place for the Blue fire in Siskiyou County. Sheriff's Office says is urging anyone in evacuation order to leave immediately. We're also tracking a new fire just north of Josephine County border, which is producing smoke for some parts of Josephine County. The Dad's Creek fire is prompting a level 1 evacuation and a road closure on Cow Creek Road. It was first reported around 9 p.m. last night near Glendale. Drivers are advised to avoid the area. After 7 long days of fighting the flat fire in Central Oregon, Rogue Valley's Task Force 52 has returned home. Crews from the Medford Fire Department, Ashland Fire and Rescue, Grants Pass Fire, Applegate Fire District, and Jackson County Fire District 3 spent the past week protecting our neighboring communities in need. This comes as the 23,000-acre fire grows to 52% containment ahead of hot and dry weather. Firefighters are focusing on restoring areas impacted by fire response and are continuing to protect homes threatened by the flat fire. Level 1 and Level 2 evacuations remain in place for parts of Deschutes and Jefferson counties. The cause of the fire is still current and under investigation. Today, Oregon lawmakers advanced a major transportation and funding package off the House floor. House Bill 3991 marks as a step forward in stabilizing state and local transportation systems. The bill reflects months of work to make a balance between sustaining Oregon's transportation network and protecting families and businesses from extreme cost. However, many have raised concerns over tax increases.
I cannot believe that today we are coming into the chamber to double the payroll tax on Oregon workers. This is a massive tax increase that ignores the voices of thousands and thousands of Oregonians, because there is a perspective that taxes are the solution to every challenge that we face as a state.
The next step is the bill will head to the Senate for consideration during the special session. As a result of funding uncertainty, Rogue Valley Transportation District will begin reduced services tomorrow. Reductions include the elimination of 10 routes, reduced weekday hours, and no Saturday service. RVTD says some routes are being modified to cover areas that no longer have designated routes. They also say there may be a reduced availability for their Valley 88 services. Moving on to crime alert, a Grants Pass man was arrested last night in an attempted murder case. Grants Pass police say they were called to Foundry Street for an assault between residents where they found a 38-year-old woman with a serious cut on her neck. A neighbor was providing emergency care to the woman before responders helped transport her to the hospital. She was later transferred to the Rogue Regional Medical Center in Medford. 46-year-old Jeremy Johnson was taken to custody on charges of attempted murder, assault, and the unlawful use of a weapon. Grants Pass police are continuing to investigate the incident. Workers over billions protests are happening nationwide today, with multiple happening in our backyard. Reporter Grace Ritz was at these protests and was able to hear more about them and how some Medford groups are speaking up.
Hundreds of people gathered here behind me at Veterans Memorial Park on Labor Day in participation with a nationwide protest titled Workers Against Billionaires. But those fighting here in Medford were speaking up for those in the community.
I'm supporting the American Federation of Government Employees, Local 1042. I'm a nurse at the VA. I'm out here in solidarity with the rest of the union workers, speaking up for workers.
I spoke with many participants who say that they took to the streets for their own reasons, like work labor laws and the Trump administration.
I know some people say, well, what good does this do? We're just a few people in this country. But if we're not out here, we're saying this is fine with us, and it is not fine with us.
People driving by showed their approval by honking, waving flags, and even showing their own signs. The protest was organized by ORD2 Indivisible and many labor unions in the area, who set up stations for donations, sign making, and union groups.
Workers built this nation, and it's important for us to have a collective voice. You know, you go back over 100 years to the beginning of unions in this country. They've done a lot.
Medford wasn't the only city to see demonstrations. More than 1,000 protests were organized across the country. In Grants Pass, a Workers Over Billionaires rally was also held, with over 800 participants expected to attend. Reporting in Medford, I'm Grace Ritz.
Take a look across southern Oregon and northern California. Smoke from the Root Fire wafting over the Mount Shasta area. You can also see the smoke from Klamath Falls as we look to the south. That is smoke from the Root Fire, and that will be working up into the basin, mainly elevated though as we head into this evening. Some very hazy conditions in Medford right now, seeing some moderate air quality. A lot of that smoke is just working through, and we should see some improvements as we head into this evening. A lot of that smoke from the Dillon and Blue fires. Right now, low 90s for temperatures in our west side valleys, 87 in Klamath Falls, 88 in Lakeview. Get ready for some hotter weather for tomorrow. Moderate air quality in the Rogue Valley, very unhealthy air in Happy Camp due to the Dillon and Blue fires. Starting to see some of that smoke working into Wairika once again, and we'll eventually see some smoke from the Immigrant Fire push back into parts of Klamath and Lake County. You can see the smoke clear as day from the Root Fire working its way northward. And now tonight, skies will be mainly clear inland. Marine clouds and fog impacting the coast, down to 57 degrees in Grants Pass, 47 in Klamath Falls. Tomorrow, we got a hotter day on tap for your Tuesday, but also with the heat will come thunderstorm chances. I'll have more details on that red flag warning and your extended forecast as we head into September. Coming up, Oscar.
Thank you, Matt. As pickleball continues to grow in popularity here in Southern Oregon, one local club is serving more than just a game. Our Danny Stepanovich shows us how the sport is bringing people together.
Here at Fitness Center Club Northwest in Grants Pass, food and exercise go together because a pickleball potluck is more than just competition.
Some people are here for competition, some people are here for the social aspect, and some people are here for both.
Member Misha Fisk said the game's appeal comes from its accessibility and the fact it doesn't feel like a workout.
I've never been a person who wants to just go run on a treadmill. You can play really relaxed, casual games, but you can also play really competitive games, and for me that's fulfilling because I have a competitive streak.
Organizers say this isn't just about pickleball. It's about building friendships, one plate at a time and one match at a time.
These type of events speak to that, just how great our members are, and just being able to come out on a holiday, be able to hang out, and this being a part of their day.
Club Northwest hosts free pickleball every Tuesday and holiday potlucks like this one, creating a sense of community on and off the court. In Grants Pass, Danny Stepanovich.
Looking ahead to September 11th, Rural Metro Fire is inviting all first responders to participate in an hour-long walk around the track to remember the events of 9/11. First responders are invited to come in uniform and walk the track or observe. The event will begin at 9 a.m. at Reinhardt Volunteer Park on September 11th.